G'day guys, welcome back to another episode in the shed. This episode we're going to be tackling the roof. As you saw, I just cut the rear section off the wagon, so it looks a little bit sadder now. It was actually a shame to cut this car up because there was actually no rust. They normally rust out in the corners of the rear windows, but yeah, this one was really clean, so it was a shame, but you get that, and it's so much easier working with clean steel. So I've got the roof section just sitting there. So I did just a bit of a rough cut because I knew I was going to trim it back anyway. So I've got a line on here where I'm going to trim it down a bit. The reason I'm doing it is you can see how it's got the bit of a slope and then the radius at the back. And also the ridges on the roof itself, how they fade out to nothing. Whereas if I was to just put a sheet up and then weld it off and clean it up, I would have all these little ridges, or I would have to try and feather them out somehow. So I figured it was just as easy to cut the roof off the other part, and it's probably not just as easy. I think it's going to be a lot of work, but and I spoke with my engineer, they're quite happy for me to do it. I just have to try and overlap the two pieces by about 20-25 mil. So, and then I've also got to try and work out the internal bracing, so because there's actually multiple pieces. So the roof skin comes down here and finishes inside the gutter. The gutter itself comes around and up into here, and then the internal bracing one comes around dog legs and finishes there, and then this one comes around that. So I don't want to just put a straight cut through it and butt weld it together. I'm going to cut it, stagger my cuts, and then try and stitch it together and have the cuts away from each other. So I've actually taken the bit of pipe from the last episode out of this corner. So I'm still going to run the pipe up to the top. So it's going to be slightly in a bit, and it's going to be curved to follow the pillar. And then I'll have a brace running across to the other side just to give it more strength. So just if you're ever in a rollover, just makes it that little bit safer. But yeah, so it's going to be a lot of work, but I think this is going to be quite slow and tedious, but I reckon it's going to be worth it for myself. But yeah, so let's make it happen. Okay, I'm coming up to cutting the skin on the U part that I'm keeping. So I'm actually more nervous about this than I have been about any of the other stuff. So to get one shot at this, I've set my laser up on the post there. It's giving me, see that green line running down there. So it comes up and over the car, so you can see the green line, and I'll put a texture mark in where it is. So the reason it makes me nervous is because I want to just cut the skin, not the structure underneath. So I'm probably going to cut across to probably this point here, and cut that off, and then slowly take parts off. I've done it right above the go up. There it is. Right above the roof support here, which is they're actually screwing. So I figured I'll put it over top of that so it actually gets the most amount of strength. So yeah. So wish me luck. Makes it easier that that part actually bolts out. And it's just got some glue and that on it, so much easier. So I've decided I'm actually going to move the cut 50mm back. I'm going to just make it easier. I'll see how it goes. I'd rather come back a little bit and then I can always trim more off if I need to, so I'll mark that out now. Oh, that's amazing taking that support out. That is so wobbly now. I have to be careful not to crush the roof. These are actually old curtains that I've picked up from somewhere, so they're nice and thick. Stop the sparks getting through on the glass. Okay. All right. Maybe I should turn it into a soft top. Probably easier. Yeah. So yeah, like I say, I'm going to trim the structure. So it looks like I've cut off a lot, but I did measure it twice. Still got quite a bit there to use. So I actually came back 50mm from my original mark, which you can see there. So I'll trim a little bit off that other section of roof. So that way it actually puts a bang over that support that was in there. Yeah, that might do me for today. I'm just doing this after work, after hours. So I'll work out where I'm going to do the next couple of cuts and so forth, and go from there. So I'll be back
the next day.
Sorry, I forgot to pick up the camera for a bit. So far, like, I've cut the excess off the roof. I took that rib out that was under here that holds the interior light, so you can see how flimsy it becomes. It's amazing the difference that little rib will make for that. And I've started trimming up or removing the inner support. It came over here. They actually finished there, which was handy. You can see it on this side. So I've removed this section that comes to here. Just drilled out the spot welds and removed that. I'm actually in the process of clearing out the gutters of all the goop and starting to drill out the spot welds. I'm going to remove the skin from the rear part of the roof. So this is the back of the wagon, original wagon. And I'm going to deal with the frame and then put the frame on here, then reskin it, and then have the overlap for my roof. So I'll probably have to trim one of them down, the final trim. Okay, so I end up cutting a hole in the pillar, the rear pillar of the wagon, just to determine how the structure of all this under support went. So it looks like I've damaged the roof, but I've had to drill the spot welds out and pry it. I'll end up flattening it all out and re-welding it back up. But you can see this gold here is actually brazing. Might be able to see it on the other side. So this is where the roof skin comes down to, and then this is the pillar, and then they've sort of overlapped and then they braze up the corners. So I've had to just cut into it. I didn't want to cut too much into the roof skin. But yeah, I don't want to have to pry it too much, but I can live with that sort of little bit of damage. I'll be able to straighten that out, and I'm going to repair all the holes before I put it back on. Like the gutter itself is a little bit warped, but I'll be able to fix that up. So yeah, I'll get on to cutting the other side now, and taking the skin off and trying to graft the frame in. All right, so got the skin separated from the roof, or the structure of the roof, and that. I say it's actually really clean, but you can see where they do start rusting from. So just obviously in between the skin and the roof skin and the gutter start rusting. But yeah, so try and graft this sort of section into that. I'll be cutting the pillars off. That's why I wasn't worried about putting a hole in that. And bring my pipe work up into that, and then make my own custom pillar. But yeah, I'll get around to fixing the gutter and that, and then graft it into all this. So like I say, like naturally these shapes from here to the back of the car aren't the same. So graft that on in, and yeah, pick up the camera at some other point. Okay, so this is the inner support of the rear part of the roof. So that's the pillar. I say it'd be the D pillar, and this is where the roof was. So that's back, and that's the very back section. So I've picked this section off here. So I've drawn out the spot welds and so forth, as you can see. So because it gives me the shapes into the corner, which I want to use. So it's going to end up putting it up in here. So I've got to get my position right and trim it down to suit where the original one was here. I'll probably drill out for that threaded hole there. Might use that for something. But that gives me the inner support. And I'll use part of the outer support. So this support here will get overlapped and joined. So I'll use part of this, and then I'm going to use this entire midsection which was where the roof come down this way and into here, and then the doors shut that way. So I'll use that. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day there at the moment. I got stung by a bee on my hand earlier. I was doing some gardening and wrong place, wrong time for the bee. I fell sorry for the bee. But my hand hurts at the moment. It's going to get better, but the poor bee's going to die, unfortunately. Yeah, so, but my hand is killing me, so everything I do, using the drill, hitting with the hammer and all that, it is killing me at the moment. So go home, rest up, and then come back at it tomorrow. So I'll catch you then.
How does it do that?
What?
How does it?
It's Bluetooth to it.
Oh, okay. Too high. Talk to me.
I'm just trying to come up with different ideas. The problem that I face at the moment is that's the shape of this support back here, and this is the one from behind at the back of the wagon, and they are different from each other. Because this one has the door coming into it, and this one has the window, the very back windows. So trying to make it graft together, because this is the back corner of the roof support, which I want to try and use. So trying to make it all graft together, so I've cut it, and now I'm going to might try and make up something similar to that, or cut it out of the wagon if I can. That way it follows this seam that's already here, and I'll use that for the window. So just trying to make it all work together. It's going to be fiddly, it's going to be splicing it together. It's time consuming.
Tell me.
Work. Yes?
To explain to the fans, because you can cut this bit out, how much time have you stood staring into space doing nothing today?
I've spent a few hours at the moment pondering, wondering how I'm going to do this. It's just cut a bit, put it up, see, have a look at it, cut a bit more off it, have another look, have a think. So you lose a lot of time just wondering with this, and yeah, it is taking a long time, but I think the results will be worth it in the end. So, as long as I don't cut off too much and make it work together still. So, yeah.
It's annoying because the screen goes off. I can't see. Oh, that looks nice.
So all this work just because I want to put the window in there.
Does it not stop when you... How do I make it stop?
Push it again. It takes a second. Okay, so after a lot of thinking and tossing ideas around, I've come up with a bit of an idea. So I've been, it's going to be a bit hard to actually see, but this part here is the original structure, roof structure. So I'll put a piece of that back in to follow that shape, and then I've cut that corner. I've got to reskin it when I bring the pipe work from the bottom here up. So I'm still going to have the pipe up, and then I actually want to put a pipe all the way across, just act as a bit of a roll cage without it being a roll cage. Then I've got my little bit of gutter that's going to be put in here. I've got to trim it down to length yet, and then I've got to work out how I'm going to put the windows themselves in. But yeah, so I've still got to do this side. So that's the raw shape, but you can see it doesn't really follow. It steps out, and it doesn't. I don't know if you can see. Come on. So this is the new piece, that's the original piece. So you can see that they're almost an inch, 25 millimeters apart from each other, and it just doesn't follow the original shape, the shape that I want. So I've had to put a fair bit of effort into this part, scratch my head a lot. But yeah, just so I can get the sort of factory look, factory finishes, because I want to run the gutter across and everything. So looks like it was meant to be, but I'm going to call it there for this one, I think. And yeah, I'll pick the camera up again when I come back to it, which will be repairing the spot welds that I've drilled out of the roof, and then grafting it all together and then stitching it all up. So no worries. Thanks for coming along on the journey. Yeah, it's been interesting. So it's a lot of work. Hopefully it's worth the effort. But yeah, see you in the next one, guys.